Hello, 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 hello. I'm back. I am back on my Dungeons and Dragons bullshit again. 1 second. It's easy. No. See. My music is glitching. Okay, there we go. Nope, that's DMCA. 1 second. Okay. I'm here. I'm alive, I swear. Okay, we are going to be doing some session planning, which is going to be fun because we had a blast last game. It was so much fun. If you were there for creating that, we did a museum, which was really fun, honestly. Let me pull it up actually. We'll go over it real fast and I kind of want to do I take it back. I don't want to do that first. We'll go over it after we do this session review real quickly, like during the session review. So, let me get my D&D chatting screen up. All right, the call, and then we will get timeline notes and session review. I don't think we really, so my every time I'm like, tell me what you hated about this session. Every time they're like, I hated that it wasn't longer, and I was actually, I just have one criticism, and that was that it was so much fun. I'm like, fuck you, man. They do this all the time. It's terrible. Hold. Let me move this over here. We're in the illusion. There we go. I don't know if that's low to you guys. It's a little low. There we go. Okay, so yeah, they were basically like, fuck you, you're awesome, and I hated it. It was terrible. Just tell me. So what we started with last time was they were meeting the caster family that we created, the merfolk family, that we created last time. So, or 2 times ago. So, the drunken treasure below. Session 7, so we're at session 8. There we go. So we got the family, which I go through and I put all of their descriptions and stuff in here so that I can find them pretty easily. So basically this whole interaction was like, look mom, I learned some new magic. Don't be mad at me because somebody broke in and you know, dispelled the comb and now it has magical powers. And so basically they like interrogated the family about the family's history, and it was, let me scooch this slightly, there we go. And it was actually it was really fun because, so they are just obsessed with this comb, man. They are so obsessed with it and it's so wonderful. It just makes my soul sing, you know? So they basically interrogate them. The highlights of this are that according to the family's legend, this person has never been known to be on land. The original caster, who again is a merfolk, half gnome. So this family is, they also found out that this family is they are the descendants of the siblings of the original caster. According to the family lore, this original caster has never had kids, and it was just the family that did, the siblings that did. So they kind of like talked to the family, or like, yo, maybe this person went on land and you guys just never knew about it. And I think I make note later when they talk to Hajra, which is the older sister, the wizard, who is very interested in the family's history. I make note of this later, but they do, like, Hajra is basically like, well, if the comb is here and that person is on land, you might have an easier time looking for the person instead of information about the comb or a person with the comb. So yeah, it was really interesting. They, so what I ended up doing, because, I couldn't resist, was when they went to talk to Hajra, they saw her with like jeweler's glass spectacles on, and she was just tipping the comb back and forth. And so a lot of this is stuff that's been milling around in my head but didn't really solidify until like the game, because it's just too much to write to be like, yo, this is what this does at this angle, this is the ability that it has. And also sometimes my players come up with better stuff than I do and I just steal it. They're like, well, what if it does this? Let's test this. And I'm like, it works, good job. And that happened quite a bit in this session. So they got Hadra's attention. They said that so basically the colors on, I would imagine, that if you were to look through a detect magic spell and onto a magical item, the like different parts of the item that do different things, so like let's say you had a staff that when you hit it on the ground, like vines grow out, or when you point it at someone, they turn into a chipmunk. Like, I would imagine that the transmutation and then conjuration parts of that, I think they would actually both be transmutation, but for the sake of this example, I think would imagine that the transmutation magic would be at the top and then the conjuration magic would be at the bottom, or maybe in like the staff of it. So I would imagine that colors are usually pretty stationary, but these colors are very much moving and changing, and I think that is because I'm theorizing on my own thing that I've made. I think it's because like in my brain how this logically works, logic in terms of magic and Dungeons and Dragons, I think that the magic moves because it's not unstable. Is probably the closest words I'm gonna get. It's unstable magic. It's like not reliable. Do you think it was ever not a comb? That's why the magic is in a different spot. And I was like, oh, that's fun. Lise thinks that maybe the bristles were used and it was worn over time, because I had that weird magic color like gone on the actual bristles of the comb. So, and again, this is like a decorative comb, so like bristles is used very lightly as a term. They asked if they were bards, and then Hajra had her try to change the comb into a lute, and they got to that conclusion because me mistakenly, when I gave them the pictures in that maze cave, I said that in the first one she had a comb and in the second one she had a lute. Instead of and like there was no comb mentioned, even though in my brain it was still like in her hair or something. But they kind of came to the idea of maybe the comb turns into the lute. Maybe the comb has like transformation properties. And so she rolled a 24, just straight charisma, d20 plus charisma, and the comb expanded and turned into a beautiful beach lute with white paint and gold detailings and pegs. They try to do identify, it doesn't work, it's not powerful enough. They tries to play the lute. So I was like, when she tried to play the lute, I was like, okay, what's going through your head right now? What is your goal? or like, yeah, what is going through your head right now for this one? And then she tries to cast dancing lights, and then I say, what is your goal with that? And then she's just like, just dancing lights. But in my opinion, magic items, unless they're sentient, of course, or cursed, or programmed to do something at certain times, you know, listen to the will of the user. So in order for her to use this lute as a magical item, first she'd have to attune to it, for one, and for two, she would also have to play it with something in mind, something happening in mind, is what my brain logic said out to me. So they talk for a little bit, tell her about the pictures. They talk about the legend. There's some journals that maybe the players can look into. And then, they say any info will be rewarded on my family history. They talk about the intelligence of the animals, which is basically the merfolk magic is so concentrated, that it gave a boost to the animals that stay in that radius. So, so they say that, she says that according to their history, the family only helped build the underwater city and not the above land city, but like alongside the land city, just not the land city. Anyways, and what is this? What is this? Hang on. It's so whack. 11. 10.5. 10.5. There we go. There we go. Okay, just had to. Whew. I just had to fix it. It was out of line. So she talks about how she hasn't really been on land much. They bring up trying to scry on the maze location. So she tries to scry on the maze location, and it does not exist to her eyes. So either it has some kind of a magic on it, it's not on this plane, it never existed in the first place, or it changed from, like, it's like its own subplane, basically. And I don't know what the answer is for sure, but I kind of want it to be like a subplane, like it's like a little pocket dimension type situation, is what I think would be fun, at least. Oh yeah. So yeah, they make exact replicas of the paintings they saw. They say they gotta go. We talked about what the nerdiest wizard subclasses are, and we were like, I was stuck between transmutation and divination as the nerdiest subclasses, but we settled on transmutation because divination wizards are like the kid who doesn't have to study to get good grades. That's the vibe that divination gives off. And we talked about like the jocks of the wizard realm and all of this fun stuff. It was so funny. So much fun. So they ask if she has a magic circle, and she's like, I mean, I gotta check your intentions first. So as long as you have Zone of Truth prepared next time we meet, we'll get that sorted, and then you can have the magic circle. They say goodbye, leave to the surface, and at the city square they wait until sundown and meet our little character from the Buff Ducks campaign, which was really nice because they were all nostalgic over it. It was so good. And She's basically like, yo, I lived a bazillion years ago, and they're like, have you guys ever met somebody that fucking old before? It was so funny. They loved it. So this is where we're gonna talk about the museum. So Cass looked around, but he also, like, his player was like, I really wanna see this museum. So, I'm here. But so some of they had so much fun. So the buff ducks, which are these three characters, Ayla, Oriana, and Cass, they were part of the Buff Ducks campaign, and they met Cosima, which is like a super powerful wizard in an underground city over on the continent, Latour, I think I called it. And they were all just like, oh, this makes me so nostalgic. Oh, and also Karina the Bold. They met Karina the Bold as well, in those caves. And then Alex was happy because the Archfey, she loves Fey creatures. So it was really fun. In her game, there are like cosmic horror Archfey. I haven't quite decided how I want to build out the Feywild yet. But I also don't think that's going to come up a lot in this situation, honestly. So, or in this campaign. We talked here. They saw that this is a real deck of many things, and they like side-eyed it, which was fun. They loved the plant armor that just like lets you turn into a plant for as long as 300 years. It's good. Raven Queen, I feel like, I don't know what it is, but the Raven Queen has like a soft place in my heart. And I don't know why. I just feel like she seems like the type of god who's like, I just work here. You feel? I just work here, man. I just ferry souls from this life into the next. They saw all of the cool things. Ooh, Ayla. Almost like spezzed. There we go. They came in here. So I made these dudes actually like, basically interactive AI bots. Like so they were basically pre-programmed with certain information through magic, and then could like respond to your questions if you had them, or like give you theories. Like, let me pull it up real fast. So they talked to Marika, who told them about the primordial evil. They, I did a quick explanation of the eras. So they asked how the gods made people, and the guy was like, ah, fuck if I know, bro. And I was like, well, there's an answer to that, but you don't know it because no one here knows it, basically. They talked to Cataquil, which was the one who worked with Ioun, to trap Vecna. And they asked him a bunch of questions, which was really cool. Or asked them, sorry, a bunch of questions. They also asked about the Staff of Absorption and the Ring of Three Wishes. So they're side-eyeing a lot of things in here. And in our like review thing, we did, I was basically, they were like, that they told, Tina told me, don't pull your punches, and I was like, I feel like I don't, though. I feel like in the cave where you guys almost TPK'd, I didn't pull any punches, and you guys are 7th level or 8th level. You're able to get your stuff out, get yourself out of stuff. Like, if you're gonna be dumb, that's not on me, that's on you, basically. And she was like, yeah, I was just trying to find something to be critical about, and I was like, I appreciate it. But they also mentioned that they want me to wreck them with their backstories, and I just don't want to. I don't want to be mean, but I'm going to, so alas. They find out the curators and a woman named Amira. Ori sees through some wolves. They find the forger Ghazali, which was a friend of Cass. Hang on, Yeah, that's right. Okay, I thought this formatting was wrong. And then Cass, who used to travel with a guy named Ellis, and Ellis was killed, and that's Cass's whole like revenge backstory, is trying to get revenge for Cass's death against the Thieves Guild. And Ghazali was like, yeah, how's he doing these days? And then Cass was like, I'm running with a different crowd. And it's like, well, good to know that he's dead or maimed or lying in a ditch somewhere. And then Cass was like, I look extremely uncomfortable. It's so fun. So, yeah, that was fun. They paid some money to, so the journal that, what's her face? Alir, got them to go, she's trying to get them to go get for her. They made a replica of it, which will be ready in 4 days. And then Cass goes outside and subsequently pukes because he was like, oh my god. Poor guy, really sad. But, so that was last session. So, this session we have a lot of things. We have a lot of things to do. A lot of things to do. They also told the family, I forgot. They told the family, yo, here's Irene's number in case you want help hiding this, what's it called? The comb, or the loot now, I guess. And I just need her to call them and tell them to only give her number out to high-paying clients like this family, which she's not gonna be upset about this instance, but she's gonna be like, don't do that unless they're gonna pay me well, okay? Basically. So let me grab something really fast. I think it's our to-do list, which is ever growing, man. Ever growing. Oh. To-dos. There we go. There's a lot of things that we have to do. Oh. Okay, establishing overview. Why they all saw each other. Saving through how fast it backs. Okay, what if the cat's beyond signs like the shadow survivors? Blah. The comb properties. Remind to have someone meet Ayla for the fire opals. I didn't do that. I forgot. So we have to do that. This session. Let's do session now. Oh, that's the wrong button. There we go. Let's call this one the heist. I hate using the so much at the beginning of these, but nobody's gonna see these except for me. So we have the casters, which we did. The comb magical properties. So I was thinking that so we also talked about this, they were theorizing with Hajra. And the mysterious extra magic could be like external plane magic, like magic from another plane. But on top of that, I was actually thinking, what if it's like direct magic from the ley lines? I think that might be fun, if I'm being honest. We did the job. I do need to do the spell for the Museum of Maelstrom, the spell that they need, because they might want to look at it, and I just need to make sure that I make it just in case. Have someone meet Ayla for the fire opals. Okay. Okay. We already designed the Museum of Maelstrom. The ruler of Dekal. I have not done the physical or personality, but I'll do that at some point. Though we already did that. Establishing overview. Way they all saw each other. This is all like bigger stuff that I don't need to worry about right now. No, we'll leave those on the list. So, we also need to have Irene call them to tell them to only give her number out to people who know. So, oh my gosh. So, I don't even know where to begin. There's a lot that we need to do for the future, and I am overwhelmed with the thought of doing all of it. So let's just start with this next session. What do we need? We need, Irene is gonna call them, so this is gonna be here, we'll say. Put it at the top so I don't forget. And then we'll have somebody meet Ayla for the fire opal. So this person, let's make Maildro. Late 30s-ish. And then we will have his name. Let me get my baby generator, my baby name generator out 1 second. D&D sessions, decall, baby names. Hold. Wrong one. Boys only. Hold. Gadiel? I don't really like that name, honestly, but it's just a side character, so it doesn't matter. Perfect. So, I think what made last session so spectacularly special, was that my players had, like, the environment that I put my players in, enabled them to get extremely creative and, like, get their brain going and get them thinking about stuff, especially lore stuff. So the museum really, really, really enabled them to be like, what about history? This is all so cool. Let's just, let's talk about it for a little while. And literally, I think an hour of our time, more than that, I'm pretty sure, was spent on the comb, for one, and then another hour was spent in the museum. I'm actually pretty sure that's pretty much directly half, except for a little bit of small talk. It was pretty much directly split between those two things of them being not completely silent, but mildly silent and just looking at everything in the museum, and then them just talking over this wizard nerd being like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And that's the kind of game I want to run, you know? Okay. Have Irene call them to tell them to only give her number out to high-paying clients like this family. Perfect. Alrighty, mysterious extra magic. So, I was thinking maybe ley line magic. Whoops. My mic cord is in the way. There we go. Ley line magic. Extra planar magic. Any of those. I kind of like that. So the magical properties, we actually need to come up with a property for every school of magic, because that is what I have committed to. So, the schools of magic 5e. There we go. So what's probably gonna happen is they're definitely going to discover all of this as they kind of go through, but for now, they have discovered the transmutation property, which is the ability to turn into a loot. Whoop. Oh, wrong one. Hi. Never mind, I'm not gonna say it. Can transform into a lute. Other instruments? Yeah, so this one's like confirmed, and this is like maybe? We'll see. I do really like the idea of it being a little unstable magic. A little, not unstable, but unreliable. What would you say magic that extends somebody's life is? Maybe restoration? Oh, sorry, restoration. I was playing Skyrim a couple weeks ago, and now I'm just like, whoa! Resurrections of any kind. What is it? Reincarnation of phylactery, raised dead, resurrections, spare the dying. Easiest way, sequester. Suspended animation. So I wonder if that is necromancy, probably? Transmutation. Oh. Clone is definitely necromancy. Imprisonment. True polymorph. It's transmutation, abjuration, necromancy. Transmutation. When you cast a spell and touch the target, it becomes invisible. It can't be targeted by divination. So if you touch it, if it says it ceases to flow. I feel like necromancy is probably closer to what I want, because if you think about restoration spells as well, actually our healing word 5e. What is that? Evocation. I think I'm stuck between evocation and necromancy then. Reduce, reuse, reanimate. You suffer none of the drawbacks of old age. That's fun. Oh, that one was abjuration. But that's also an imprisonment spell, which would protect, it would keep you trapped, which is what that whole thing is about. So what if we, necromancy is what I keep coming back to. So I think we do necromancy. Is elongates life. So I think those are the only two I want to do right now, because they are going to discover stuff later on, and I just don't, so there's a part of my brain, there's certain things that I need to have figured out in order to run a game and not feel like I'm floundering, but something like this is something that just like flows very naturally for me. So it's not something that I have to plan out, or that I necessarily even want to plan out, because I feel like whatever I come up with right now won't be as good as what I come up with later, if that makes sense. So anyways, I do want to leave this a little bit up to chance, I think. So, anyways, all right, we did session 8 cleanup. Good. So this is Ori stuff that we need to do. So I'm gonna save for one. The to-dos. Ori. Let me just fix this formatting real fast. Okay, Ori clarifications. From the family. So, what's fun about Ori, we're gonna start getting into soon. Especially because I do need to make consequences for her taking off the amulet of non-detection. So, so she is happy with the interpretation that her mom is more concerned with the family's legacy rather than what Ori wants. Which means that I basically got the okay to wreck her life, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Like, I don't want to make them sad, because that makes me sad, if I'm being honest. Even though I will probably have to end up making them sad, but I don't want to. But what this gives me the okay on is to basically be like, controlling mother? I can do that. I had a very controlling childhood, which was awesome. So I have a lot of content to draw from. So, are there any specific moments you want to see? Play more into finding information, intruding on each other's vision, stop leeching off my power, is basically what he's gonna say to them, being like, yo, I don't want you here anymore. ¿Por qué? There we go. Trying to find out the world is this week. So these are going to be goals. Trying to find more info about the family, figure out how to break free and not have to worry about them being on their back. Ori goes back to try to save the people they've been connected with. I feel like this fits more over here. The family does not need to. So what this means is, because I was writing a little shorthand, what this means is that I asked Tina, I was like, hey, is taking down the family necessary for your character's development? And she was like, no, it's not necessarily. Not necessary. But she would like to if the campaign does go on for a long time, which I hope it will. We'll find out, I guess. Do you want to meet the troupe that gave you the poetry book again? And her answer was no. Her answer was that it does not need to happen. It will probably happen because Lise Bilda is part of that troupe. But it does not need to happen. So we'll put this here. Tab. Nah. I just knocked everything over. Hang on. There we go. I really need to do this little check-in with all of my players is what I need. I need to do one with Cass pretty soon, because I want to basically be like, is it okay if I make it so that you hurt people in your past? Like, really hurt people to the point where they're like traumatized by you beating them up type shit. Because I feel like even if you're like quote unquote not like the rest of the kids, like he was, which he was a werewolf, obviously. So I think that even if you are not like the rest of the kids and are having a hard time yourself, that doesn't necessarily make you immune to hurting other people in your endeavor to become a human being, you know? So yeah. Yes. So the calm properties are going to be something that we're gonna be exploring over the next, I think, probably for quite a while. Like, at the very least, until they meet the ruler of Dakal, which may or may not ever happen. But it might. And they might be able to facilitate that, or it might just, like, fall into place that it just naturally happens. And of course, there needs to be a ball of some kind. Duh. Anyways. There needs to be some kind of party where they can dress up fancy, because it's necessary, obviously. Alright, the ruler of Dakal character overview, which I'm gonna do in my off time. Reminder to have someone meet Ayla for the fire opals, which we kind of did already. Perfect. Now, let's talk about the museum, because the museum is the big thing that they are going to be going into next session, and that is something that I have not quite nailed down, like the protections. So what they found was abjuration magic, divination magic, transmutation magic, and one more. Abjuration, divination, transmutation. Hold. Schools of magic. Conjuration. Evocation, because of the lights and stuff. If I'm right. Yeah. Wait. Abjuration. Yeah. So these four: evocation, abjuration, and transmutation. So obviously the divination spells are going to be things like basically cameras. They're also going to be, the abjuration stuff is going to be things like alarm, which is pretty low level, but probably like an extended version of that. The transmutation is going to be on all of the creatures, is a strong word. I feel like they're more than automatons and less than creatures, if that makes sense. Hi, Witches Smith. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. We're just talking about they're going to break into basically a super magical museum, and I think they're thinking it's gonna be a little bit more simple than it actually is, if I'm being honest with you. How was your stream? There it is. There we go. So, like, on the cases over here, there are, and this is the caster's journal that they're going to get, but all of this is going to be protected by magic, obviously. These are, like, ancient items and really cool animatronics that are doing cool shit. So, they want to protect, especially, like, not only these historical items, but also these, like, actually powerful items. Oh, down here and over here, as well as over here. Skyrim seems stable. Nice. Oh, cool. Are you playing with people in your community or just together? I heard that my friend and I were going to play the Skyrim together, but he said that it was very unstable. last time we tried. Especially since the update, with the, like, the anniversary update, I think it was. Planning on constructs in general. Yeah, so all of these guys are going to be able to move and fight, and so are these guys, and these guys are like water creatures, basically. They're gonna be basically like water weirds or water elementals of some kind. And I'm debating making these move, but I kind of just don't want to put I don't want to put in the effort of making these little displays be dudes that they have to fight. So yeah, it's just gonna be these 6 and these 4, which is still quite a bit. And I guess we'll see which ones they end up triggering is kind of what we're talking about. Me, the wife, and our friend who introduced us together a while ago. We'll be trying. If not, I will just be doing all sorts of weird things in Skyrim on my own for a little while. Nice, nice. That's so fun. I have loved Skyrim so much more since I installed mods on it. It's made it so much more fun. If I'm being honest. Okay. Alright, so let's take a look here. I'm not allowed to make any constructs right now. I already have the Chitinous Horrors and that to work out. Oh my goodness. Are you currently running a campaign, or are you prepping for one to run in the future? Or just world building, I guess. Museum of Maelstrom. So let's do this. Abjuration. Not conjuration. Abjuration. Evocation. Lights. Transmutation. Dudes moving. And I already forgot it. Divination. Cameras. Alarms. So abjuration, this is going to have to, like, keeps them from opening stuff. Keeps people from opening stuff. There we go. Building a TTRPG, world building, campaign design, weirdness in general. Nice, nice, nice. How far are you in the building of your TTRPG? I know you mentioned a bit about it last time as well. Abjuration keeps people from opening stuff, evocation, lights, transmutation, dudes moving, divination, cameras, alarms. So, now that we've kind of established that, let's take a look at our spell list. Un momento. Donde, there it is. Not an Attack on Titan ad. There we go. Hang on, it's loading. There we go. Alrighty. So, let's take a look at some spells. All spells. Filter, there it is. So let's do abjuration, divination, evocation. I don't think we need to look at evocation because that's going to give us a lot of fighting stuff, and then transmutation I don't think is a big issue. So I think we're just going to look at abjuration and divination to find some specifics, including like spell levels that they're going to have to dispel, as well as as well as like the exact properties that they might be dealing with. So there we go. Perfect. I want to look highest to lowest, if I'm being honest. Highest to lowest. Invulnerability, imprisonment, foresight. Now, mind blank. That's fun. Holy aura. Divine light. Have advantage on saving throws. That's fun. I have a lot of the mechanics mostly figured out and just have to set in the specifics. I have a framework sort of set up and I can reverse engineer stuff from there. I might need to set up a process for that so people can set things up themselves, you know, for third-party content creators and storytellers to be able to make their own stuff for their worlds. Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. That's so much fun. Love that. Are you doing dice-based? Alright, you have a good one. See you later. I appreciate it, I appreciate it. Let's see, symbol. Cast a spell, you have a harmful glyph. Or within an object that can be closed to conceal the glyph. Choose a surface the glyph can cover the area. Okay, death, discord, fear. This might be interesting, doing a fear symbol spell. Might be interesting. Dice-based check, damage set, I can try to stop by another time and talk more. Yeah, that would be awesome. That'd be so much fun. I'd love to learn more about it. Incapacitated with excruciating pain. I think fear, pain. Pain seems like a little bit too torture-y for me. I feel like fear would be better because it, or at least make a little bit more sense because the target drops whatever it's holding and must move at least 30 feet away from the glyph on each of its turn. Okay, each target must make a wisdom save or become stunned. I really feel like any of these are really, really good options, to be honest. So let's do... Let's move abjuration down here. And let's do... What is this? Abjuration? Yeah, so let's do... Symbol, which is going to be 7th level. There, we'll just put 7th, because I'll know what that means. I guess we'll find out. Let's see. True Seeing Primordial Ward. What is that? You have resistance. Oh, okay, to all of those. Guards and wards is interesting. Globe of Invulnerability. Forbidden. Secret award against magical travel. What? This is Player's Handbook. Wow, I don't think I've ever read this. For the duration. This is Cleric. Creatures can't teleport into the area or use portals. The spell proofs the area against planar travel and therefore prevents creatures from accessing the area by way of the astral plane, ethereal plane, Feywild, Shadowfell, or the plane shift spell. Cool. I've actually used this before, I just never knew because I didn't know that the spell existed. Druid Grove. Solid Fog, Grasping Undergrowth, Grove Guardians, additional spell effects. Scrying, Telepathic Bond. Legend Lore. Legend Lore. Planar Binding, Telepathic Bond, Scrying. Greater restoration. Stone skin. Private sanctum is good, but not for this. Locate creature. Freedom of movement. So, what exactly does locate creature entail? That is familiar to you. Interesting. So I've been wanting to implement an idea of basically like being able to fingerprint but magic, you know? So being able to ID people and follow their trail based on this magical signature that they leave behind, which I think would be a lot of fun. Really hard to get away with anything, to be honest. But it would be interesting to see, like, to make up what kinds of spells and stuff leave behind that magical essence. Maybe it has to be like a physical thing. So like if you cast an ice spell and then there's ice shards all over the place, maybe that's they can use those physical ice shards to trace that magical essence back to you if they find you. Like, so you, of course, you would have, like, a fingerprint, you would have to have a person's hand and fingerprint it and compare it to the crime scene. But I think that would be a fun little idea, personally. So kind of like a little bit, a higher level locate creature, but not location, it's just identification. What is divination? God or God's servants. You ask a single question concerning a specific goal. Okay, that's not what we want. Arcane Eye. They're definitely, so I think it's clairvoyance is the, yeah, clairvoyance is the one where it's like a little sensor. It's basically a camera is what it is. So I think we'll do clairvoyance, which is 3rd level. The heist. Divination. Divination. Clairvoyance, which is 3rd. So they'll have to use like a what is the spell? It's like see invisibility, I think it is. They'll have to use that in order to make it in order to find those sensors. There is something that is brushing against my neck and it's bothering me. There it is. It's a string. Magic circle, non-detection, intellect fortress. Ooh. Tongues. Okay, I didn't look through all this. Divination, death ward, arcane eye, magic circle, non-detection is one of my favorite spells. It's really good. Glyph of warding. So we can do a glyph of warding that does this damage. If you keep a spell glyph, you can sort any spell up to the same level as the slot you use. Same level as the slot you use. That's so interesting. But it's not a level lower. There's a, I can't remember what spell it is that you have to do a level lower than the one you cast. I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember. So let's do Glyph of Warding, which is Abjuration. Which is a 3rd level. So we can do either a spell or either a spell or how much damage was it? Oops. It's down here. 5d8. So for Fireball, I believe it's 8d6? 68s. 8d6, 68s. I can't remember. It's one of those two. So this is pretty similar damage. Duration keeps people from opening stuff. So we do need something like Arcane Lock. Oops. Arcane Lock. It should be at the beginning of this. Counterspell, Dispel Magic, Clairvoyance. Beacon of Hope. Warding Bond. Warding Bond. Creature you touch. Never mind. Protection from poison. See Invisibility is the one they need, and the only one who could possibly have that is going to be, sorry, there are two that could possibly have it. It's going to be Ori or Lisbilda. And I don't believe either of them have that spell. So this is going to be interesting. They might end up asking Hajra to help them. And it's also a wizard spell, so she'll probably prepare that if they do ask her to help them. So, Pass Without Trace. Mind Spike. Wisdom saving throw. That's interesting. We could load up the Glyph of Warding with Mind Spike, so you know the creature's location until the spell ends, which is up to an hour. While you have this knowledge, the target can't become hidden from you, and if it's invisible, it gains no benefit from that condition against you. So I think loading this up with Mind Spike would be super cool. The heist. That's divination. Mind Spike, which is the second, and it is so loaded into the Glyph of Wardings. Perfect. Yes. Well, you have this knowledge that target can't become hidden from you, and if it's invisible, it gains no benefit from that condition against you. So perfect. Locate object, locate animals or plants, lesser restoration, fortune's favor, find traps, detect thoughts, cleric, druid, or ranger. Find traps. Interesting. What defines a trap? A trap, for the purpose of this spell, includes anything that would inflict a sudden or unexpected effect you consider harmful or undesirable, which was specifically intended as such. Thus, the spell would sense an area affected by the alarm spell, a glyph of warding, or a mechanical pit trap, but it would not reveal a natural weakness in the floor, an unstable ceiling, or a hidden sinkhole. I feel like it should reveal a sinkhole. You don't learn the location of each trap, but you do learn the general nature. That's something to keep in mind. Detect thoughts, augury. Gemini stakes, laying out. Course of action you plan to take. That's fun, actually. What book is this from? Player's Handbook? Interesting. Arcane Lock, there it is. So this is gonna be Abjuration. Oops. Which is... Was it second or third? Or first? It was second. That's what I thought. There we go. I feel like a lot of these protection, quote-unquote, spells are very low level, considering. Shield of Faith. No. Shield Sanctuary, maybe? No, this is a ward creature, I forgot. Identify Hunter's Mark of Alacrity. Can add 1d8 to its initiative rolls. That's fun, actually. Detect Magic. Detect Evil and Good. Comprehend Languages. Beast Bond. Armor of Agathis, Alarm. So Alarm is the other one, but I mean, I feel like that's a given. I'm gonna put it down anyway. First. Yes, yes, yes. So when we're talking about a museum, of course we don't want to actually destroy anything, so we want stuff that's gonna do probably psychic damage, in terms of Glyph of Warding, or something that does not have an area of effect but is rather single target. So Glyph of Warding, I want to take a look at it. The spell must target a single creature or an area. The spell being stored. Why is it yelling at me? You can store a prepared spell of 3rd level or lower when the spell's triggered. As a target, if a spell has an area, the area is centered on that creature. Interesting. They appear as close as possible to the intruder and attack it. If the spell requires concentration, it lasts until the end of its full duration. That's crazy, actually. Affects an area. That's kind of broken. Pretty cool. Yeah. I think what we do is we bing bang boop open this. Let's do spells that do psychic damage. Most vicious mockery. Oh, homebrew. Psychic spells. Mind sliver. So let's look at that higher level stuff. Higher level. Weird. Ooh. But this is 9th level. So we can't, I think we do like 7th? Okay, 6th is what it seems to be. Feeble Mind or Maddening Darkness. So we'll do 6th level. Mental Prison. 5d10 psychic damage. So let's take a look at this and let's do bop. And this is gonna be 6th level. And we'll actually move Mind Spike up here. And then we'll bing. Bang. Boop. Okay. Metal for synaptic static, eruption of psychic energy. Any creature must make an intelligence saving throw, take 8d6. Creature also has muddled thoughts. Oh, that might be fun, actually. 5th level. Oops. This is 5th. And then Psychic Lance, Staggering Smite, and so that's a physical spell. A lance of psychic energy. The target must take intelligence saving throw. Is respectable, but the ability to potentially incapacitate an enemy is powerful. I kind of like this actually. This one's not physical. I thought it was for a second, but it's not, which is great for me. Because I get to put it in my protections. Phantasmal Killer. I don't know if I want to do that. My brain is just too small. Shadow Blade. Unsurprisingly, the Shadow Blade's blade spell creates a sword made from shadows. Phantasmal Force. Wait, I was thinking of Phantasmal Force. What's Phantasmal Killer? Illusions of their deepest fears. I don't really want to do that because I have to describe it to the whole group and they're gonna be like, that's sus. If I just throw everyone's greatest fears at them. But maybe I should. Mind Spike. Wrathful Smite. Imbue a magical weapon so that I can deal. Okay, magical weapon. Needs to make an additional attack roll for this new target. Chaos Bolt. What? These are. This is wrong. Hang on a second. This is not Dissonant Whispers. But it's a first level spell anyway, so I don't think we'll use that. But I think this is a pretty good list. So we've got Clairvoyance, and then we've got Mind Spike, which is Divination, but it's not like something that it's going to be loaded into the Glyph of Warding and not something that is going to be just on the area, if that makes sense. So I kind of want to see. When you cast Identify spell 5e Glyph of Warding. So basically I want to find out if the Glyph of Warding, if it tells you the spell if you go cast Identify it. Cast Identify. Glyph of Warding could tell us this. Well, none of you. Okay, let's take a look at this. Well, none. Okay. What the heck? No. Alright, interesting. Let's read this. New to DMing. His first level spell, Identify, seems to abuse it as when anything slightly magical is present, he will always cast Identify and ask to know everything about what it is. That seemed fair enough the first 2 times, as it wasn't a cantrip, and that is what the spell claims to do, but now his character is level 5. Uh-huh. That's frustrating. You notice that the spell requires a feather. He'll need that 100 gold piece of pearl. Also, Identify doesn't detect curses, so use curses. This does not answer my question. Oh, I do like this question. Hinder any divination spell that reveals information about magical properties. This is my interpretation. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Huh, they don't really answer. So let's look at Identify 5e. And let's do... Choose an object that you must touch throughout the casting of the spell. If it is a magic item or some other magic-imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them. Whether it requires attunement and how many charges it has. How to use them. You learn items. You learn which spell created it. You learn what spells, if any, are currently affecting it. I don't think that if you touch Glyph of Warding for 1, you would immediately trigger it. But for 2, I don't think if you did it, you would see what spell was in it, frankly. So, yeah. I think I think this is actually a pretty good list. And I think that's all that I really want to do today, because this, we have our game tomorrow, so this really sets us up for success tomorrow. It's gonna make it really easy, especially, I think Mind Spike is gonna be so fun. It's gonna be so much fun. Because if you're guarding a bunch of magical items, you would rather know where somebody is and where they are going instead of necessarily hurting them, especially if there's no guarantee to incapacitate them. So I think that's what we'll do. So yeah, I think that's where we're gonna end it today. But let's go ahead and take a look and see who all is online. Oh, Avas is online. Oh, the pupper. Yeah, alright, so let's go ahead and /raid. I always forget to do this, so I'm glad I remembered. Let's go ahead and raid him. And I think that's all how we'll end today. I will see you guys next week. We'll be talking about campaign planning, and I also want to get back into world building. So we'll be doing that next week as well. But I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.